the skills that they've acquired, especially when they are young, under 30. One of my fundamental concern is about young people being too comfortable with their accomplishments. And so I remember I traveled to some country last time, and I made some presentation, and someone came to me and said, "Oh, I'm a great fan. I love your presentation." I said, "All right, but to make friends with me, you have to be serious with your life. You have to not sit down comfortable with your first degree." I asked, "How old are you?" He said he was 24. And so I said, "Look, you believe it or not, first degree is not enough to keep you sustained in this world right now, in the 21st century." So telling him how he could actually foster his life by thinking big about his future. So I'm concerned about all of these facts, all of these things, because the young people of today need to be motivated by the older folks who have higher skills. I don't feel comfortable just being by myself. See, the PhD population on the planet is just 1% of the over 9 billion people. So we want more people to come to join us. All right, that's by the way. So today's topic is Sonic Therapeutic Intervention for high job performance. Any changes? Okay. So introduction and background. See, some of you are finishing your programs, your studies. You're graduating this year, finished? And you finished? You're graduating too? Yeah. So the next thing will be going to seek out for a job. Yeah. And when you do get a job, you need to sustain that job. In other words, you need some high retention to be able to, foster your progress in the future. So high job performance enables retention, promotion on the job, and sustainability. Sonic Therapeutic Intervention has been found by researchers that it impacts employees' self-directed learning, readiness, and organizational innovation, as well as organizational performance. So this is one of the research reports of the scholars who are using Sonic Therapeutic Intervention in their adventures. And then another scholar says Sonic Therapeutic Intervention impacts employees' job performance. So that is already been proven. But today we are talking about high job performance. And so there is a gap in the literature, and therefore, basically a gap implies that something has been done, but that is something that we need to understand to be able to have a deeper insight in the subject matter. So yes, it has been established that Sonic Therapeutic Intervention impacts on performance. But today, our concern is to explore how Sonic Therapeutic Intervention impacts high performance, not just performance. So the research I explored Sonic Therapeutic Intervention for high performance. Definition of concepts. Sonic Therapeutic Intervention implies recapitulatory, in other words, audible repetition of self-administered transcendental sound vibrations that enhance a positive change or positive social change. The specific transcendental sound vibration used in this research is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, consisting of 32 syllables. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now we investigated, our research was focused on this very intervention, this therapeutic intervention, and there are there are many interventions, especially in the Vedic culture. They use very many interventions, employing the use of sound therapies. And this very intervention is a very popular intervention in Vedic wisdom, especially in Indian subcontinent. And it's been proven beyond reasonable doubt how it augments or it helps in mitigating stress, anxiety, depression, and recently some scholars have come up with reports that sonic therapeutic intervention, specifically this mantra, helps in mitigating insomnia and promotes longevity. So social change is the augmentation of human social conditions by supporting individuals, communities, or organizations' development. Is self-administered. Yeah. That's why it is defined as self-administered. Yeah, self-administered. There are certain ways that sound vibrations are used in the healthcare industry or in the clinical industry, clinical research. So in some cases, the researcher or the doctor or the clinician administers the sound. But in this very research, it is about self-administration of those very sound vibrations for a positive change. Introduction and performance. Oh, wait a minute. Now, the problem statement. Now, when we have to make a presentation or conduct a research, the question that comes is, what is the problem you're trying to address? And this is very prominent, especially when you're doing research in graduate studies, either at master's or PhD. The research should be focused on solving a particular problem. You find some gap in the literature, in the domain that you're working on, and that is something that you feel that other researchers have not touched in terms of details and exploration. So the COVID-19 pandemic had a devastating effect on organizational performance and even individual performance. We find that during the COVID, people were locked up. There was a lockdown and work was particularly paralyzed. A lot of people who have their own personal private businesses, they folded up. And so performance was reduced almost to zero during the COVID. And therefore, there is a need for us to be able to understand how to move forward from that very standpoint of view. So the specific problem is that although sonic therapeutic intervention is important for high performance, many employees in the in general in the private and public industries do not avail themselves of the high opportunity in terms of the cost effectiveness of sonic therapeutic intervention. Research on sonic therapeutic intervention for high performance is research on sonic therapeutic intervention for high performance, especially in the pharmaceutical industry, is negligible. The current study fills the gap in the applied management and decision sciences literature. Purpose of the study, grounded in Prabhupada's sonic therapeutic intervention framework. The purpose of this study is to diagnostically explore the performance of the high job performance of individuals who are utilizing sonic therapeutic intervention either in the pharmaceutical industry or in the general private and public industries. Sonic therapeutic intervention reduces stress, anxiety, depression, as well as prevents financial fraud. Research question. Now, when we are conducting research, we have what we call a research question, which is the foundation that generates the data. From that research question, we are able to generate research, interview questions to interview those people who had lived experience on this very phenomenon. So the research question here is, how does Sonic Therapeutic Intervention facilitate high job performance? Methodology and design. The methodology is qualitative. We have three methodologies in research applications. We have the quantitative, the qualitative, and the mixed methods. The mixed methods is an integration of the qualitative and the quantitative methods. And that is really a long process, but sometimes some scholars they venture into it because it gives you a detailed understanding based on explorations in the qualitative approach and in the quantitative approach. But this very study is a qualitative, we employed a qualitative method. Data was generated inductively through document review. Keywords: high performance, anxiety reduction, stress mitigation, depression reduction, Sonic Therapeutic Intervention. Data collection and analysis. Now, when you go out into the field, especially in qualitative research, when you go out into the field to collect data, after collecting the data, you have to also analyze the data, but then you have to use specific strategies in data analysis. And in this very study, we use document analysis or document review to facilitate the data collection. In other words, it is a secondary research, secondary process that was involved. Databases: Business Source Complete, Premier, EBSCO, Elsevier, Emerald, Google Scholar, Agenta, ProQuest, PubMed, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, and Toria Database. Now, each time we collect data, either quantitative data or qualitative, there must be a way of analyzing, or the essence of analyzing the data is to be able to generate teams. And so the data collected was analyzed to be able to generate teams in this very study. The results are thus: Sonic Therapeutic Intervention enabled anxiety reduction, depression reduction, financial fraud prevention, stress reduction, self-management. Now, for one to have high performance, and we know damn well that you need to be healthy mentally and physically to be able to facilitate high performance on the job. Otherwise, there is no question of high performance if someone is not mentally healthy. In other words, you need sound mental health and a sound physical health to be able to engender high performance on the job. So these items that were generated in the process of the research analysis or the data analysis, the whole of these 5 items, they facilitated workers' high performance. In other words, Sonic Therapeutic Intervention enabled high performance. Social change implications. What's the time there? What's the time? Okay, we got it. Social change implications. Positive social change is enhanced through organizational performance. Also, more important educational leadership and result-oriented decision-making in the academy especially. Also, the study results have the potential to promote happiness, which is associated with high performance. When people are high achievers or they perform highly on their job, the likelihood is that they get some promotion, and they align with organizational performance and the goals of the organization. And so the social change implications here also help to promote the happiness of those involved or those who have high performance on their jobs in terms of how they contribute to the organizational development and the overall organizational goals and mission statement. The study results could enhance the social responsibility that's associated with achievement mindset. The social responsibility implies that we have so much from our job. We have gained so much from what we are working on. And so we have so much of excess, and we want to use that excess in giving back to the society. We want to perform some charity. We want to build some schools. We want to build hospitals. Or we want to feed people, poor people, etc. So we have the references. You can check through. DAS 2021. That was a recent publication. Then we also have Niva et al. 2021. Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Database 2020. Prabhupada 1986. Bhagavad Gita. Then we have Sekar et al. 2019. Shen et al. 2020. Wolf 2019. That's it. Yes, are there some comments or questions? Thank you very much for participating. Any comments or questions? You're already familiar with Sonic Therapeutic Intervention, right? To some extent, yeah. Yeah. What? What makes me to be interested in this area? That's a nice question. One of the things that enables my interest in this area is that, you see, Sonic Therapeutic Intervention has so much of social benefits. For instance, it helps in improving the neurotransmitters of your brain. It helps in improving your cognition and memory. In fact, it helps in mitigating insomnia. All of these have been documented by researchers. And so what really made me to be interested is the plethora of benefits that comes with practicing this type of intervention. And I do it every day. See, I tell you one thing. Here comes a very practical issue here in my own lived experience. See, when I was doing my PhD, we had a very tough course, quantitative reasoning and analysis. PhD level statistics. It's all statistics. Now, we were 10 PhD students in that class. Everyone else failed. Yeah, it was so difficult. I was the only person who passed, and not just passing with a pass grade. I got 90 plus, A plus. So the professor, he became so much interested in me. He was trying to figure out, who is this guy? So I told him openly, look, Prof, I'm a peculiar guy. I practice this therapy and that therapy, this intervention for, my own self-improvement. So he became interested also in trying different therapies, especially in the line of transcendental sound vibrations. Yeah, so I can give you quite a number of, benefits that I've derived from this. Another thing is that this intervention has made me to be a better person socially in terms of how I'm able to calm myself, even in midst of adversity. You see, sometimes we're confronted with some challenge and we become hyper in anxiety. And that anxiety alone could, increase our blood pressure and all this type of stuff. But then with this therapy, you find out you have mental equilibrium in any situation that you may be confronted with. So it gives you that type of mental equilibrium. And we need that, especially, I go to places, outside, like I meet some of my scholar friends, and sometimes we meet and then they ask me, Dr. Das, what is it that you took today? You took some rum? Why are you so happy? I said, look, I don't take intoxications, but I do engage in Sonic Therapeutic Intervention, and this is the root of my happiness. I go about my job every day with a sense of, a sense of joy. I don't do what I need to do as a duty. I do it out of love for what I want to do. So, I don't have this a lethargy that people in general have. Academia is just a tough area, but because I'm engaged in all this type of, therapies, I feel so much of a leverage from the general trend of body, anxiety, depression, and stress that people of my caliber encounter. Yeah. Is it 4 o'clock now? Is it 4 o'clock now? Because we have to close up. Yes, any other comments or questions? Thank you very much for your nice question. Yeah, I remember a similar question cropped up when I was in Chicago. I made a presentation at Chicago, Howard College, and then one of the attendees, he asked a similar question. He said, "Sir, you have over 35 publications in peer-reviewed journal. So what made you to be interested in these interventions?" That's the same explanation I gave. Personal benefit that I have derived. I can face difficulties like every other scholars. Okay, but I'm not deterred. It doesn't really create any type of negative change in my determination because of this type of intervention that I have to get into every day before going out into the field of work. Yeah.
So like in corporate settings, give examples of
how do I practice? Yeah. The advice that I can give is that, you see, people in general, they will say that they don't have time. Okay. When you explain about therapies, they say they don't have time. But they will have time to go and spend millions of dollars or thousands of dollars when they get into real health hazards. So prevention, I believe, is better than cure. And the way to be able to incorporate this in the corporate world is that first of all, the person who wants to do that job, who wants to, channel that type of energy into the corporate world, he has to be himself. He has to be a sonic therapeutic interventionist. He has to be a practitioner. Because when you're a practitioner, when you relay that energy or that message to somebody, it carries a better convincing weight. If you're not a practitioner, it becomes like a paratologist. A paratologist is someone who just repeats something. He may say, drinking is bad, but he takes intoxication every day. He preaches, he tells his children, don't drink, don't smoke, but he's smoking. So the children may think, Papa, Dad, what is it? So yeah, if we want to plant Sonic Therapeutic Intervention in the corporate world, we should first become Sonic Therapeutic Interventionists. And that we can do very easily when we allot some time in the morning for, for this type of intervention, for this practice, especially before sunrise. And we have to learn to go to bed on time so as to be able to utilize the best hours of the morning is before sunrise. In fact, scientists have come up with reports that the best hours of the mornings are best for high productivity and high performance. If you want to be innovative, try to get up early in the morning. If you're doing academic work and all these things, around from 4 o'clock to 6:30. From 4 o'clock to 6:30.
Then what should you do after?
You prepare for your work. In America, most people they got up even 4 o'clock to prepare for a job if they have to drive to a very long distance. But then you see, we live in a culture of hustles and bustles, and therefore, if we don't really prepare ourselves before we go out, we could be overwhelmed with anxiety. Fights in the office, fights with boss, fights with colleagues, and all this type of things. I tell you a story. A gentleman, and someone told me this in Florida, in Laguna Beach. I went there for a presentation, and the gentleman came to me to tell me what he did to his daughter. One day he came back from work, and he started raining abuses on his 8-year-old daughter. Now the girl kept quiet. Some days have passed. She brought up the issue. Father was happy. She was happy. She brought up the issue before the dad. Hey, Dad, you said like this. You did this to me the other day. We came back from office. Did you have fights with somebody in the office that day? 8-year-old girl. The father said, yes. I had a fight with my boss. I had a fight with colleagues. Now, when you encounter this type of situations, and these are things that are very, we easily encounter this type of, situations. If we are involved in some type of interventions, we will not become affected. But then he carried this trauma home and passed the buck on the innocent child. So these are some of the problems that are associated with people not being fully equipped. I mean, it's like you're going out. Going out is like going to the war front. And if you imbibe that high energy that comes with Sonic Therapeutic Intervention practice, you will be able to have a stable, static equilibrium when you face all of these challenges from people around you or at your workplace. And you're young people, you're going to the world of work, you're going to experience all of this. And so it is best to be able to prepare yourselves, to protect yourselves from being vulnerable to this type of traumatic effects. Yeah. You're welcome. See, your time is up. All right. So thank you very much for participating. Online viewers and face-to-face participants, thank you very much for coming.